the Love Talk Show on Liberty Radio.
We're going to talk about how to deal with past traumas. Stay with us. This is the Love School. Every Monday, we bring here a theme. Let's go for a report that speaks more on the subject.
Letting go of past experiences can be challenging. Events that people find difficult to process can have a significant influence on their daily lives, from their beliefs to the decisions they make. Overcoming a traumatic relationship might not be easy, but it is a process that we have to go through so that life can continue on. And this is no exception in the celebrity world. British singer Adele had to go through therapy from the age of 11 to help her cope with the loss of her beloved grandfather. When she was 18, she discovered her then boyfriend had been cheating on her. However, she transformed the mix of anger, regret, and loss that the situation brought about into the fire to write her first songs. These talked about the emotional ups and downs of love, expressing her feelings of vulnerability, pain, and a longing for the past. In 2011, she started dating charity CEO Simon Konecki, whom she later married. However, the couple then confirmed their divorce after 9 years together. This decision had a huge impact on the star's life, and she again used her songs to express her feelings. Adele also resorted to therapy to help her overcome the pain. Adele has opened up about the traumatic split on stage at her Las Vegas residency show. A relationship falling apart, whether you're married or not, it's really difficult and it's really traumatic. I started having therapy again because I went a few years without it. I needed to start. Before, obviously, when I was going through my divorce, I was basically having 5 therapy sessions a day. Hopefully, the singer has managed to heal her wounds, given as she recently went public with her new relationship with sports agent Rich Paul. Another celebrity who has had a troubled relationship that left her with traumas was singer Rihanna. Rihanna and Chris Brown had a highly publicized relationship from 2008 to 2009. Their relationship was marked by controversy and domestic violence, as Brown was charged with assaulting Rihanna in 2009. The incident caused a media frenzy and led to Brown pleading guilty to the charges. He was also ordered, via restraining order, to stay away from Rihanna. The two musicians have had a tumultuous relationship since, with periods of public feuding and reconciliation. Rihanna told Vanity Fair that she eventually realized she couldn't change Brown and deserved to be treated better by a romantic partner. She walked away from the relationship for good in 2013. Even so, her emotional scars lingered. In 2015, Rihanna told Vanity Fair, "I'm always concerned about whether people have good or bad intentions." The singer had other relationships after Brown until her current one with rapper A$AP Rocky. The couple seemed to be happy and they recently welcomed their first son together. Traumas can be very difficult to overcome. They can significantly impact a person's relationship and their ability to form and maintain healthy bonds with others. On tonight's program, you will learn how to heal and rebuild yourself from past negative experiences.
Yeah, once bitten, twice shy. There is a saying, there is a proverb, not in the Bible. There is a people's proverb. People say this a lot. Once bitten, twice shy. That means that once you go through a bad experience, Mila, you will always expect the same to happen. You always expect the worst to happen, as we can see with Adele, Rihanna, because they went through past traumas, past bad relationships. Even though they get into a brand new one, they will expect the worst.
Yeah, and they're gonna behave in such a way, right? They're gonna behave, they're gonna sabotage. Maybe it is a good relationship, but because there's still trauma and suspicion, and they feel like they can't trust that the person is not gonna do the same to them, they behave in that way.
Yeah, leading the person to do exactly what the past boyfriend did.
Exactly.
Because they are seeing this. They are treating them like cheaters. They are being suspicious, and this pushes them to do exactly what they fear the most, what the woman fears the most, which is betrayal.
Yes.
So this is really concerning. How to deal with these traumas, how to deal with these things. The first thing you need to know is traumas, they create deep roots. They're difficult to get rid of. Notice the word difficult. It's not impossible, but they create deep roots. And the thing about roots, they're not leaves, they're not fruits, they're not branches. They buried.
Yeah, you can't really see it.
You don't see them. They're hidden. They are. You have to dig deep. And if any of you tried once to uproot a plant, you know how hard it is. You can break a branch. You can pull a fruit. You can rip a leaf. But the root is very hard. Very hard. It's deep into the soil. It has grip on the ground, and it's the hardest thing to do. Singles, you should never begin a new relationship while you have unresolved traumas. Okay? Don't even begin. Work on yourself first. Okay? If you have traumas of the past, first deal with that.
And this is a big mistake. A lot of people think that in order to overcome a past trauma, they need to find a new love to, so to help them heal from the past trauma.
No.
But it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You're going to bring the problems into the relationship, and it's not going to work.
Exactly, because the bad roots are there, right? You need to uproot it first, clean the soil, and then plant something new. Otherwise, the bad root is going to suffocate the new ones you're trying to plant. And couples, while you don't deal with your own bad roots, your relationship is not going to get better. Maybe that's why your relationship is not doing well. You always have the same problem. For 2 months, for 3 months, everything's fine. But then guess what? The roots show off again.
Yeah.
It bears forth bad fruits again. It's like a cycle, Camilla. They're doing well, and then they are doing bad.
Yeah, it's like a partner that's overly jealous, right? They're overly jealous and they fight about it, and then that person tries to control herself, but then it happens again, that jealous outbreak. But because they were betrayed in the past, they haven't taken care of that, so they're always gonna be with those suspicions, always gonna be with those attitudes.
Exactly. And every once in a while, this attitude is gonna spring forth, unless you deal with that. Okay, let's go for the streets. Let's see what's the word on the streets, what people talking about, what people think about past traumas. We'll be right back.
Today we're taking to the streets to find out what the public thinks about baggage. Now, does a new relationship help lighten the load, or does the burden of the old get wheeled into the present? Find out today on The Word on the Street. Do you think that entering into a relationship without resolving any previous issues from the last one can repeat the traumas and negative patterns? Or do you think a new relationship will help with the healing process?
I definitely feel you going into a new relationship and not kind of working on yourself from a previous relationship can affect the way you'll be in your new relationship. I do feel like anything that is not solved will reoccur, or you could potentially self-sabotage yourself within your new relationship. To move forward, you have to close every door before you reopen another one.
I feel like people should go and get help if they haven't already addressed it, because then it will never get fixed. You can always have someone that's understanding and caring enough to talk about it with and work through it with, but not necessarily fix.
I think it depends. I think there's a lot of nuances to triggers and and trauma in relationships. So I think when you work on yourself and when you are of the right sort of mental fortitude to then pursue any relationship, I think that's always the best point.
I do think that if you have relationship trauma from previous relationships, that you can carry that into your new relationship. Because I believe that you need to kind of dissolve that issue before you even enter a relationship, because I think you always look for the same pattern in most cases. I don't know.
Has anyone you were with ever brought baggage of traumas into the relationship? If so, how was the experience?
Luckily, I've never had that. So I always had quite healthy relationships. Loads of friends, they always kind of have the same pattern when they choose their partners. So it always ends up in either cheating or, luckily I've never had a friend that had to go through domestic abuse, but yeah, definitely I've seen patterns from other relationships.
Yeah, it was very hard, but I think, for me personally, I think if I get to a point where it's outside of my control or things I can do, and I feel quite exhausted, because there's certain feelings you don't want to have in certain relationships. So when you start to monitor those feelings and see oh, okay, that's a bit of a red flag, you kind of need to take a step back, look inwards, and maybe that relationship isn't for you. So I think it does take a while, it takes a process. But at the end of the day, you have to make the decisions that are good for you.
Fortunately for me, that hasn't happened. I do feel like if it did happen, after a breakup, I would take time out to kind of work on myself, because I do feel that every relationship teaches you something. If it's not about the person, it's about how to handle yourself within relationships, depending on what age as well. But I do feel like certain situations kind of help you understand yourself and how to deal with situations in your relationship the next time. So that's how I would do it personally.
It's hard. It's really hard. And like I said, you should definitely go and see someone about it, because it definitely took a little bit of a burden on me, because I'm not a professional and I don't know what to say and what to do. I don't think there is a right thing to say or do, and that's also important to remember too. In a specific situation, I felt like I couldn't help the person and there was no sort of right or wrong ending, and it just ended, which was sad. But I hope they're doing great.
For more on this topic, tune in to now the Love Talk Show at 11 p.m. on Liberty Radio.
Mila, people know about things, right? People know they need help. They need to work on themselves.
So it's almost like they come to the love therapy.
Yeah, I think it's common sense.
Common sense.
But one thing is to know, another thing completely different is to practice. And the symptoms of unresolved traumas are not happy on your own. Okay? You're not happy where you are.
It's the type of person that is always looking for, they need to be in a relationship in order to feel happy.
Yeah, exactly.
They're never happy on their own.
And or what we spoke about Friday, right? In a relationship, they're too suffocating, right? They don't know how to be balanced. In a relationship, they don't know how to be balanced. So they're never happy. They are not happy with the person close. They're not happy with the person far away, right? When it's close, they want to control the person. When it's far away,
they miss the person.
So, another symptom is the past still hurts.
They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to touch on the subject because it hurts. It still hurts.
It has never been healed. Fear of the future. Look at that. You're afraid. You're not hopeful. You're not certain that things are going to get better. You're always afraid that things will go back to where it was before.
Yeah, you start a brand new relationship already with a negative mind, right? Oh, the same thing's going to happen again. This is not going to end well. It's always that fear of the future. Yeah,
that you're going to relive the same problems that you dealt with in the past, okay?
Mm-hmm. That's why some people close their heart to love, like we spoke about.
Yeah.
For a while, right? In the love therapy.
Exactly. The solution, what is the solution, Pastor? Deal with the root of the trauma and rebuild yourself, okay? Get rid of the root and start over. Rebuild yourself. That's the solution.
Yeah, so it's the cleanup process.
Yes.
The Love Talk Show on Liberty Radio.